Welcome back to the daily morning entertainment feed on Fiddler Music, with me as editor Olivia. Today, let's take a look at some notable celeb news in the past 24 hours. Thank you for always supporting and accompanying us. Come to the following hot news. Queen Elizabeth II laid to rest in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Inside King Charles III's next steps following Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. Here's what happens to British money after Queen Elizabeth II's death. How Queen Elizabeth II's death impacts Prince George's royal duties. Queen Elizabeth II laid to rest in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Queen Elizabeth II has been laid to rest in a private burial service on September 19. The late monarch is buried alongside her parents, sister Princess Margaret, and will reunite with Prince Philip. Queen Elizabeth II has reached her final resting place. The British monarch, whose life was commemorated hours earlier in a funeral service at Westminster Abbey on September 19, was laid to rest in a private burial service at Windsor Castle. Her coffin was lowered into the royal vault at St. George's Chapel, while the Dean of Windsor said a psalm and the commendation. Also during the service, the Archbishop of Canterbury shared a blessing and the national anthem was sung at the end, according to the royals' website. Queen Elizabeth died on September 8 at the age of 96, just hours after Buckingham Palace noted that doctors were concerned for the state of her health. The Queen's final resting place is in the King George VI Memorial Chapel within St. George's Chapel, where her father, King George VI, and her mother, Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother, and the ashes of her sister, Princess Margaret are buried. Additionally, the coffin of Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip, who died in April 2021 at the age of 99, was moved from its place in the royal vault at Windsor Castle and has now been reunited with his wife's casket in the King George VI Memorial Chapel, with the two now buried together. After the death of her father in 1952, Queen Elizabeth ascended to the throne at the age of 25. In 2015, she made history, surpassing the previous longest-reigning British monarch, her great-great-grandmother Queen Victoria. Queen Elizabeth would also go on to become the longest-serving female head of state in world history. In addition to carrying out her civil and philanthropic duties, the Queen welcomed 4 children with Prince Philip, King Charles III, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward. The Queen also had 8 grandchildren, including Prince William, Prince Harry, Princess Beatrice, Princess Eugenie, Peter Phillips, Zara Tindall, Lady Louise Windsor and James, Viscount Severn and 12 great-grandchildren. Prior to her funeral service on September 19, the late monarch's children and grandchildren held vigils in honor of her life while she was lying in state in Westminster Hall, on September 16 and September 17, respectively. Following the Queen's passing, her son King Charles reflected on his mother's legacy moments after news broke of her death. "We mourn profoundly the passing of a cherished sovereign and a much-loved mother," he wrote in a statement shared by Buckingham Palace on September 8. "I know her loss will be deeply felt throughout the country, the realms and the Commonwealth, and by countless people." Inside King Charles III's next steps following Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. After Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, King Charles III and his wife Queen Consort Camilla will fully step into their new roles. Royal expert Jonathan Sacerdoti explains what's in store. The royal family's new era is here and King Charles III is leading the way. Following the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, her eldest son officially became the King of the United Kingdom. Prior to the promotion, King Charles had been the oldest and the longest-serving heir apparent in British history, with the new ruling monarch ascending the throne at 73 years old. His mother, meanwhile, was 25 years old when she became queen, and that contrast could inform what comes next for Charles. "This is definitely a new chapter for him as much as it's a new chapter for the whole of the country," royal expert Jonathan Sacerdoti told us. "He's going to need to decide exactly what type of monarch he's going to be because he can't just reproduce what his mother did, much as she did a brilliant job of it. He's going to have to find his own way to do this. He's coming to the throne much older than her," Sacerdoti continued, "and, also, he's facing some challenges that she saw towards the end of her reign, not least the issues to do with the family and maybe slimming down the royal family as a result of some of the controversies. Charles, a staunch environmentalist, will also have to take a step back from some of the issues he is passionate about, including climate change." In his first public address as king on September 9, Charles acknowledged that his life, will of course change, as he takes on his new responsibilities. It will no longer be possible to give so much of my time and energies to the charities and issues for which I cared so deeply, Charles said. I know this important work will go on in the trusted hands of others. King Charles isn't the only member of the royal family stepping into a new role. His wife, Camilla Parker Bowles, has been given the title Queen Consort, a decision the Queen shared back in February and one sacerdote called the final seal of approval from Her Majesty. It showed a transformation for her from how people once saw her to how people see her now, sacerdote said of Camilla. She is the Queen Consort. She is Charles's wife. She is someone who has taken on a lot of duty and carries out the roles of somebody in her position. That's going to continue. Here's what happens to British money after Queen Elizabeth II's death. Queen Elizabeth II's death means money in the United Kingdom will soon bear King Charles III's face. Royal expert Jonathan Sacerdote breaks down everything you need to know about the switch. The death of Queen Elizabeth II means many changes are in store for the United Kingdom, one of the biggest being money. The long-reigning monarch's face is printed on decades' worth of coins, bills, banknotes and more. However, all of those will change now that King Charles III has ascended the throne. As for how and when those changes will occur, royal expert Jonathan Sacerdote broke it all down in an exclusive interview with us. It's not like suddenly the cash in our pockets isn't going to be worth anything, he told us Francesca Amiker. Those things will be phased out gradually. The changes won't begin until Charles's official portrait as king is decided upon, after which it will be added to designs on banknotes and coins, said Sacerdote, and that will be something that eventually is phased in. Charles's portrait will differ slightly from the portrait of his mother, whose side profile sees her facing to the right. Charles will face the opposite way, as it is tradition for portrait directions to alternate with each new monarch, according to the royal expert. So, when the time comes for Prince William to become king, his portrait on pounds will face the same direction as his grandmother, with Prince George facing the opposite, and so on. But money isn't the only thing that needs changing, though, as Sacerdote said that the UK's mailboxes all bear the insignia of the Queen or the monarch at the time when they were created. And with so many of the country's mailboxes featuring the Queen's face, Sacerdote believes that we'll see loads of the Queen's remaining for a long, long time. But over time, ones featuring Charles will be more common. Charles officially became king following his mother's death on September 8, though a date for his coronation has yet to be scheduled. How Queen Elizabeth II's death impacts Prince George's royal duties. Prince William's son, Prince George, is now second in line to throne following Queen Elizabeth II's death. Will his childhood be affected? Royal expert Jonathan Sacerdote weighs in. Following the death of his great-grandmother Queen Elizabeth II, Prince George of Wales is now second in line to the throne. What exactly does this mean for the 9-year-old son of Prince William and Kate Middleton, though? According to royal expert Jonathan Sacerdote, not much, at least at the moment. I think he's too young, really, Sacerdote exclusively told us. Though we do occasionally see him out. For example, we saw him at the Queen's 70th Jubilee celebrations in the audience with his parents and on the balcony. Any other public appearances are likely to serve one purpose: a reminder that George is in the line of succession. As Sacerdote pointed out, he posed in a rare royal portrait alongside the Queen, his father and King Charles III in 2020, a move that he believes showed the continuity of the British monarchy. The commentator continued, something that's really important to remember about the idea of a constitutional monarchy like the one we have here in the UK is that one of its strengths is that being done by birth means you always know who's coming. And that creates an amazing amount of stability. But that's not to say Prince George is going to start attending all official engagements from now on. Occasional reminders of his position in the line of succession are simply good for both the public and the future monarch himself, Sacerdote added, because they can both learn each other and get to know each other. George's latest public appearance came during the Queen's funeral service at Westminster Abbey on September 19, where he and his 7-year-old sister Princess Charlotte accompanied their parents to pay tribute to their gone. The pair's younger brother, Prince Louis, IV, did not attend the services. George and Charlotte were among the youngest of the more than 2,000 mourners who said goodbye to the and those are also the most outstanding news that closes the morning today. Thank you to everyone for listening and following Fiddler Daily News. If you find the video interesting and useful, please click like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the latest celeb news.